All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Excited for what we're bringing you guys today. So, we normally do our sessions privately, but something on my heart, I moved by energy, and I was able to share an energy story with my team just yesterday. And I decided to open it up, and Dr. K may not even be in here. She's like, "Why did you just open up the Zoom to everyone?" And I said, "My heart moved me to." So excited for today's conversation, which is truly a conversation. One of our speakers was like, "Hey, do I bring a presentation?" And I said, "No." I said, "What's happening right now is that people are thinking that real estate is not happening each and every single day. People are thinking transactions are not closing each and every single day. People are thinking that maybe I should just go and do something else because the opportunity is just not there anymore." But ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you guys. There is no better time to get into real estate. There is no better time to activate. There is no better time to say, "Man, I'm going to focus, I'm going to hold in, I'm going to do what I need to do," than right now. So if you're thinking that, man, the market sucks, if you're thinking that transactions aren't happening, buyers aren't buying, sellers aren't selling, then let me tell you again, things are happening each and every single day. And let me just get one more of our speakers in here. So I believe that the activities that you do each and every single day set you up to be successful. The work you put in yesterday pays off not truly the following day, but it pays off the week after, the month after, and I love that the room is being filled up right now because really that's what we focus on in our program here. Our focus is truly focused on I'd like to tell people, I like to tell people 87% focus on working with sellers and then the rest on anything else that you want to move your heart with. And that's working with buyers, that's working with rentals, that's working in the commercial space, that's working with the assignment space, the wholesaling space. You know, I believe that listings is the key to success. I believe creating the inventory is the key to success. But there's the people out there that get a buyer here and there. What do we do with them? We got to work on, we got to service them, we have to assist them. So I decided to put this panel on today to really talk about how do we shift with the market to provide the opportunity to get more buyers under contract. 7% rates, people are freaking out. We just had a cancellation today. One of our buyers canceled today. And I asked the agent, I said, "Why do you think that?" He says, "She's just not ready. People are nervous." I'm nervous myself, y'all. For y'all that don't know, I closed on my home August 10th, $6,000 mortgage, and I'm shit freaking out, excuse my language. But the Lord will provide real estate transactions each and every single day. I'm a money magnet, I'm a listing machine. Buyers and sellers want to look for me daily, and I affirm the things that are of me. So, real quick, wanted to see if one more person is going to be joining us. So I did some research. So take notes. If you're taking notes, take notes on this. I did some research. 70 million more people are in the United States today than they were in the 90s. 2021 was the all-time high for real estate transactions. Our average real estate transactions, this is from NAR, our average real estate transactions is typically anywhere from 3 to 4%, $3 to $4 million of real estate transactions. 2021, we did $6 million of real estate transactions. And what they're predicting that is that while we're at an all-time low right now, we're going to bounce back. So keep that in mind. If I don't do the activities right now, will I be able to bounce back when that time comes? All right, so I'm going to pull up our panelists. Some of them don't need introductions. A lot of them you already know, but I would be remiss if I didn't give them the respect that is truly needed throughout my good friends, and some of them have become my great friends this year, and some of them that I'm in great collaboration with. Excited to be doing a transaction right now with Lorraine, one of many that we've done before. And real quick, Lorraine Simon is a purpose-driven realtor, ordained minister, and an advocate with over a decade of experience empowering individuals throughout the real estate ministry and community service. A proud Haitian American. Hello. Lorraine's mission is rooted. I need a second. I need somebody to co-host with me. Nell, can you co-host with me, please? Lorraine's mission is rooted in legacy, faith, and service, carrying the torch of her immigrants' parents' sacrifices. She's a founder of One Hand, One Heart, a nonprofit supporting foster youth and services as the president of the South Florida Board of Realtors Foundation. With a master's in political administration and heart of justice, Lorraine continues to lead in the space of housing, healing, and hope. Lorraine Simon, draw some fires for Lorraine. Dr. K, thank you for being here. I need you to co-host with me as well. I'm going to pin the speakers to the screen as they come up. And at the end, they'll be able to give you guys their handles. They'll be able to have you guys follow them on their journey. A lot of them are advocates in the community. A lot of them own their own brokerages, their own companies, and a lot of them own or master or lead organizations that they definitely want you to be a part of. So we'll definitely give them the platform for that. Next up is Mr. Eddie Brown, owner and broker of Iconic Realty and Associates, with over a decade of experience in South Florida real estate and recognition as the top 20 under 40 experts. He's committed to helping families achieve their real estate goals. As at Iconic, the brokerage that he's with and owns, we combine families to achieve their real estate goals. We focus on market experts with cutting-edge technology to deliver results. Our tech-savvy approaches streamlines the buying and selling process, which he's going to be speaking about today, enhancing communication and maximizing exposure throughout the digital marketing space. Backed by a knowledgeable team and innovative tools, he ensures, as well as his team, that their clients are ahead in today's fast-moving market. Welcome to the smart way of doing real estate. Are you iconic or not? Let's go, Mr. Eddie Brown. Now, my great friends, which we're going to leave the platform open for them so they can talk to you guys about all things happening in the mortgage space. I know you guys probably want to talk about Hometown Heroes, so they'll probably bring that up. Hometown Heroes is kind of banned from certain places, but we'll leave the platform for that. But Tanya Palmer and Aaron Lee are the brokers and the owners and the CEO of Century Point Lending Solution. For Ms. Palmer, she's a mortgage company expert without Florida, Georgia, and Texas with over 20 years of experience. She's led with servant leadership and is known for her positivity, her initiatives, and her deep industry knowledge. Tanya serves as a Black ownership committee for the Broker Action Coalition and is a member of the Women Mortgage Network. She holds multiple mortgage underwriting designations. Nice. Outside of work, Tanya enjoys traveling, real estate investing, tennis, filming, spending time with her children. She brings heart, wisdom, and professionalism when it comes to client interaction. Draw some fires for her. Let's pin you. I noticed my partner, Dr. Karen Lewis, joined the room. And without further ado, Mr. Aaron Lee, as you guys know, is the Century Point co-owner, chief experience officer, which is also the co-founder to Redefining Homeownership Finance Experience, known for his problem-solving skills, his dedication, Aaron's ensures that clients receive professional services, competitive rates, especially in today's market, and loan solutions tailored to their financial goals. He leads with professionalism and a client-first mindset, positions Century Point as a trusted lender in the residential financing space and commercial. There's an opportunity out there. Outside of work, Aaron is a proud father. He's a devoted father, finding his greatness and joy in quality time with his son. He's committed to family and business fuels, the mission for ensuring that homeownership is at the forefront. He brings every client not just to the closing table, but also builds relationships with them. All right, y'all. All right. I'm excited about today. I am excited about today.
Hey,
Drop some
I think
questions.
he wrote all those bios.
Yep. I kind of took what y'all sent me and I kind of tailored them because they were like this long. And I'm like, I'm not reading all of this.
I think Eddie wrote all them bios, man.
Hey, I got a short notice.
Hey, I just told somebody that's how I move. That's how I move. We're planning our next events, which we'll tell you guys about later on today. And Aaron is like, when is it? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out, man. Like, commit first and figure the rest out later is how I move, and it's provide me the opportunity to do what I do. All right. So first question up. Questions for Mr. Eddie Brown. So, Eddie, I want you to really focus on building the brokerage, but prior to building the brokerage, people see you in the space of really getting buyers to the closing tables through your gifts, through your consultations, through the showings of the properties, through the video tours that you're doing right now. I've noticed that it's really have helped you guys close a lot of deals. So, question for you, what specific marketing strategies are you using right now to attract these buyers, and what has been the most effective thing that works for you guys?
Okay, awesome. That's a great question, by the way. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Thanks for having me. One of the things that I realize is that the majority of these buyers are looking for houses on their own, on their phone, right? We know 8 hours of the day, majority of these buyers are on their phone, right? So how can we reach most buyers on their phone? By obviously social media, marketing, whatever those marketing platforms are. But what we are doing, we are implementing call of action words, right? So if you're looking at videos on your phone and say you're on your job, you're gonna look at those videos on silent, right? Or you're gonna look at videos that call to action like, oh, this may be interesting. So I took that concept to say, what's everybody pain point as a buyer? What is my down payment? Right? How much I got to put down to purchase this house? So our strategy behind it is obviously a beautiful house with an affordable down payment, call to action, right? So what they're going to do? They're going to schedule a consultation because I want to know how can I get that house for 20% for 20,000 down to 30,000 down. Makes sense? Open houses haven't been the same, right? So use leveraging the call to action is what we're doing to reel them in, and then obviously creating an experience during that consultation from start to finish.
Beautiful. And what we'll do is we'll do Q&A at the end.
Okay.
Next question, creating a tailored home search experience for your buyers, as you kind of dived into a little bit already. Are you really relying on the MLS, or are you relying on Zillow? Are you relying on whatever they're finding on their off your social media to kind of cater to what they're looking for?
So what we like to do is we like to obviously create a partnership with our buyers, right? We say, hey, send me 3 properties that you see on Zillow that you're interested in, right? Now we kind of get a feel of what type of properties they're looking for. And then we go to the MLS and compare that to what they sent us, or we also tap into new construction. But one of the main things that we've been able to do to connect to buyers and build a relationship during our first showing, during that first engagement, during that first meeting, right? We are making sure that, and y'all may want to take this down, it's a free gem. We meet our buyers for the first time, we are meeting them with a gift, right? Rather that's a flower, rather that's a notepad to write down the pros and cons of the property. Let's just say we may have a list of 10 properties. We got a itinerary laid out for a free lunch in between those showings. right? We're separating ourselves at the beginning meeting to separate that we're doing things other agents are not doing. And by doing this, the clients are feeling appreciated because everybody loves surprises. And by using this method, we are able to build a long relationship with these buyers to where they are referring their cousin, their family, their friends because of the initial partnership or initial meeting. We gave them a gift, an affordable gift, if that makes sense, y'all.
Beautiful, beautiful. So real quick, are you meeting the people right off the social media platform or off of Zillow and meeting them at the three properties of interest? Are you bringing them into the office? Are you doing that Zoom consultation first? What does that look like once they inbox you? And what are they inboxing you?
Okay, perfect. So definitely not meeting them in person. It's always a flow, right? When they reach out, ask them about the property, ask them about the down payment, automatically send them a link to schedule a buyer's consultation. Hey, thank you so much for reaching out. I see that you're interested in this property. Click the link below to schedule a buyer's consultation. That way I can go over the process and answer any questions or concerns you may have. That's the first initial consultation. And obviously it's a link for them to fill out questions about credit score, things like that. And then from there, we're scheduling an in-person meeting, and then we're hitting the field once they pre-approve. But
Nice. I'm excited that you mentioned the thing about the lunch. Are you kind of bringing them to the same exact place over and over again? Are you setting a budget that you guys use with every single customer, or are you tailoring that lunch venue based on what type of customer it is?
it's a combination. Obviously, if it's a high-end client, we're tailoring that lunch to something more upscale. Obviously within budget, within reason. Let's say, for example, if it's a high-end budget, we may do Kalu's, something like that. But if it's a typical buyer, we might do Chick-fil-A or something like something like that. But during that time, it's not so much about the lunch. It's a time to really connect with that person and really understand that buyer, as you engaging in lunch, because my method behind it, I don't want to show you 30, 40 properties. So during that lunch meeting, I'm getting to know you and kind of zeroing in on the pros and cons of each property and why you should choose at least two out of those five properties we done seen so far.
Got it. Final question on this topic. During your first initial consultation or your first meetup with them, do you find yourself going under contract during that same time, or do you see yourself getting back in the vehicles with them to show them more properties now that you better understand them?
Well, I would say obviously because of the interest rate. Once they see that monthly mortgage, they kind of be hesitant. They kind of be on the fence. So it's a lot of explaining the why to them, making sure they understand their motivation, letting them know different strategies to refinance and things like that. But that's the main pain point that we're dealing with is when they see that monthly mortgage, like you mentioned earlier, yours 6,000. Most buyers gonna run away from that, right? Me even repeating that, I'm like, oh my god, I'm scratching my head. So that's one of the main things that we're facing, and obviously buyers getting approved for a certain amount, and they seeing like 500,000 only get me this compared to other markets. So that's how we're able to kind of discuss that at the beginning as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lorraine, what are you doing differently when you're first meeting these buyers? Rather they're regular folks, high-end people. How are you setting yourselves apart from the others?
Wonderful. Thank you again, Jeff and Dr. Karen, for extending the invite for me to participate on this winning the offer in 2025, because this is definitely a different style of market from 2021. You have to plant seeds, and those seeds are going to have to germinate and they will sprout in their own season. So I'm so glad that we all could mastermind on this call together so we all can win in 2025. Do not throw in the towel. Do not walk away. Even if you have to pick up a side, make sure you keep the main thing the main thing. Because we all have bills, so we understand. Don't feel no kind of way if you need a side, because baby, if somebody want to pay these tax bills and give me a side, she is open to it. And so thank you for that. My average sales price is at about 405. So I'm with the working class folks. I just turned 40. So my peers are at that age. I am also noticing now when you good to people, they refer you to their parents. So now I'm working with a few boomers and I love that space. They are settled, they retired, they got that 401k, they are downsizing. So I love it. it still is an interesting market, even in the 55 and older community. So I keep the main thing, I am in my phone. My prospecting is hitting my phone. All of the business that I'm working right now are my sphere of influences. I don't pay any ad marketing. That's just not in my budget. And so I keep it organic. And once I get a lead that is expressing that they're ready to buy, I schedule a buyer's consultation via Zoom, or now working with the boomers, I've actually scheduled to go to their property. And why I love them is they feed me. You know, we thank Eddie for his good Holy Ghost Chick-fil-A, because we all love Chick-fil-A, right? But with the baby boomers, you come over, they feed it. I need to do this in person more often. And so I meet them where they are. If they're millennials and they are savvy, we could do Zoom. But if they are in the 55 and older, I've learned to go to them because I don't want them traveling out of their comfort zone of what they have going on. And I have a buyer's questionnaire that I developed years ago in real estate when I noticed exactly what questions I needed to ask. And that keeps me focused on exactly what they said that they were looking for. And when they begin to send me properties that they like, I will alter that. But for the most part, that buyer's questionnaire allows me to build the rapport. It allows me to learn the husband's likes, the wife's dislikes, and I'm able to put together a very good profile for exactly what they're looking for. And then I just transition them into, if they're not pre-approved, I transition them into the pre-approval process. We're looking at the numbers to make sure they're comfortable with what that looks like at their pre-approval amount. And then we're setting up the concierge system. So I started 10 years ago, and 10 years ago, it was buyers. And then, you know, you work because they tell you listings last. Oh, we in 2025, you got listings, and they just sit there. It's like, you know, you go back to your roots. And so going into that phone and calling those buyers that were trying to buy during the pandemic, but they were priced out, and just encouraging them, following up, empowering them. Let's look at the numbers. Let's come up with a strategy to get you into your home. A lot of our buyers right now are listening to the chatter of, oh, the interest rates are high, the market this, the market that, but what's your strategy? And so I have been setting up strategy sessions with my past clients who are not necessarily buyer ready right now, but myself, along with their loan officers, we have been giving them strategic steps to homeownership. We've been working with credit repair agencies. We've been connecting them with the DPA programs with the different cities so that they can get into a point of feeling more affordable at their level. And so just echoing what you said, Jeff, plant the seeds now and they'll germinate in their right season. So it is our winning season, and we're gonna all win. And so for me, I keep it organic. I give them Lorraine. We either connect or we don't connect, but majority of the time we do. And I'm ready to hit the streets. We went out with my boomers the other day, and they wanted to see 11 properties, and I was like, Lord, 11. Right. And so by the time we got to number 7, they was tired. And she said, I think we found the one. And I said, let's go, you know? And so we got their property listed, and they're going under contract on their purchase. So it was a simultaneous move. And guys, something that I did recently on their particular listing that I was so shocked about, I did a Tuesday open house from 5 to 7:30. And Zillow boosted. I don't know what Zillow did for my listing. I didn't click nothing, do anything, but Zillow sent it out, and I had over 15 families that showed up on a Tuesday evening without their realtors, and they received 6 offers that same day, and we went under contract that same week. So I said, well, maybe we need to switch it up. We might need to do during the week in the evening open houses versus the weekend, just to see what really works. So I was really shocked at that turnout. But it's our winning season, and that's how I have been hosting my buyers consultations, Jeff.
I
Thank you.
love it. I love it. Going back to what you mentioned, that you have a questionnaire, if you can drop 3 of the questions that are off that questionnaire, what would they be?
Let me
Do you,
unmute.
do you
I'm
know
gonna
your
pull it
credit
up really
score?
quickly.
I have in mind. Do you know your credit score?
Okay. Do they know their credit score? Okay. What other questions?
So the first question on mine is, tell me about yourself,
Okay.
because this is where the rapport building starts for me. I actually allow me to run my bio first, as to how I entered into real estate. Because what I find is when they learn about me, then there's a connection. It's either the government background that I have, the ministerial background, the author, something that or foster care, something that I say kind of triggers oh, we are foster parents, or I used to work in government, whatever that thing is, my mama, daddy, sister, cousin, some kind of connection is going to happen in that rapport building. And then I just give them the space. People love, hear me, as realtors, we know this because they love to run their resume about how long they've been in the business, but don't nobody really care. Can we execute this contract? People love to talk about themselves. So that's my first question. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And I literally give them the platform to talk. If it's 15 minutes that they go on, I'm just jotting down as much notes as possible. Because in that space, you can learn what is that pain point or what is their why. I'm working with a couple now, and she lost 2 quadplex in the past, and she's now coming back into the market. So every time we're out, I see the nerve, but I also see the excitement. So I know that's going to be what allows me to close her. Another question is, what are some of the reasons you are making this move? And then I also am asking, which is very important to me, how many are in your family? And do you have any school-aged children? Must you sell your home or complete a lease agreement before you are able to buy? How soon do you need to move? If you find a property, are you prepared to place an offer on that now? What is your price point that you have in mind? Do you have a monthly budget payment amount set aside? That question right there for me is also another 15-minute long conversation. A lot of us do not have budgets. So we just out here, right? So I literally will give my clients homework. I will pull up my budget. I'm old school, 1985, but Jeff, no, I'm old school. And so I have an Excel sheet of my expenses. And every month on the first, I sit down and pay all my bills, and I go down my Excel sheet and I know where I'm at. But off top, I know how much money I need to clear every month in real estate, right? And my other endeavors. So I give them homework. I show them the apps that they can utilize and connect to their phones so that the apps can allow them to see how much money they're spending. I'm giving them the tools and the resources so that we're not going out closing of the deal and you calling me next year crying because now your mortgage is too much. If you know your numbers, you know where you can buy. Jeff is at a $6,000 a month mortgage. That needs to be 30% of Jeff's annual income. So is Jeff buying right, or is Jeff just trying to live the life, you know? So once I know Jeff's numbers, I can have a better conversation with my lender partner in regards to how my buyer should really close the deal. Sometimes it works because the buyer's like, I like it. Sometimes they think it's too deep for them. And you're just not my client. And I'm okay with that because I'm not going to be in the streets on the champagne taste bud, but you got, what is the same beer budget? Yeah, beer budget. So for me, those questions really truly allow me to build a strong profile for my client. We close, they're happy, and we can move forward. So those are some of my questions. And I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but I just love this, y'all. I love really.
We
You're doing
appreciate you. Next up, for our lenders in the room, either of you guys can take this question or both of you guys can take this question. What emotions are kind of driving the buyers right now to purchase right now? And how are you guys speaking through them throughout the emotion process when it comes to interest rates, credit scores, my mortgage is going to go up next year, taxes, and all the other stuff?
Well, it's the word that everybody's been using. It's the fear. Believe it or not, the fear factor is driving buyers to buy. Um, when we look at the home prices in South Florida over the last maybe 5 to 10 years, your typical first time home, a 3-2 was 250, 300 prior to 2021, right? Now those homes are 450 to 500 for many of the areas that we all serve. So that fear factor of those prices continuing to grow hits home a lot of times. The interest rates, I mean, the interest rates are the interest rates. And What has worked for me a lot of times is like I think it was Lorraine that mentioned like stats in the Excel spreadsheets. We keep a stat sheet of what interest rates have been historically, and you can go all the way back to 1972, and like you could watch that curve go up and down, but those average interest rates have always been in that 6 to 7% range. That and where we are right now is where the rates have always kind of averaged. Yes, we have to have that tough conversation about the COVID years and the COVID interest rates being super low and what they were. But I think your more serious buyers, once you show them the facts in terms of where the interest rates are the average rates, the home prices are not getting any cheaper, any lower, they come to terms. They come to terms, they see it, they realize that this is what it is, and if they truly want to buy, they move forward. The ones that are just kind of like peeking through the window or heard that it was a good idea to buy a house, they tend to go away at that point because that's just the reality is they're not ready. I don't care how many times Eddie takes them to Colu's, they're not ready if they can't afford. And Lorraine pointed out a very, very good question, a very important question that everybody should be asking. It's one of our top three questions that we ask. What's your monthly budget? Before we even get into talking about what you're qualified for, what your credit says, any of that, how much are you committed to paying on a monthly basis for your mortgage, right? And you get those questions, and some people answer, "Hey, I only want to do $1,500 a month. Hey, I only want to do $1,200 a month." Sorry, unless we're looking at a 55 and older, $100,000 condo or less, you're
Ain't
not
happening.
not ready, right? So we have to, as the lenders, unfortunately, sometimes we have to be the ones to have those tough conversations up front to drive out some of that fear. Also, in some cases, we confirm the fears that they have. But what I find a lot of times is when you confirm the information with them, then the acceptance starts to comes into play, and that works well for us.
Beautiful. So follow-up question for those people that you find that are just not ready right now because they want to be at a $1,500 mortgage or due to the rates. Is there some type of system that you guys are working with when maybe prices go down or interest rates go down, or there's a follow-up system that you guys can like assist them to say, hey, not now, but in the next couple of months? Or are you guys closing them and giving them a plan on what can they do later on to ensure that they can now afford the mortgage?
Yes to both. It depends on the situation. Nobody, growing up in Jamaica, my grandmother used to say everybody's pot is not cooked at the same time, right? So, the ones that can, especially the younger folks, if they can afford that condo right now and they can do that 15 or $1,600 payment, get in it. Okay, get in it, build yourself some equity, get used to paying some real bills other than shopping on Shein or Team or Temu, however you say it, right? And those ones tend to come back in 3 or 4 years. I think I don't remember where I saw this stat, but it's like for every home buyer that you come in contact with, it's potentially 11 more closings. Okay, whether it's them refinancing, purchasing their next home, or word of mouth to their family members, right? So you never leave them hanging. You give them that experience, you give them what they need at that moment. Now, for the ones who need some work, whether it's credit, whether it's savings, whether hey, they just need to give themselves another 6 months to get their mind right. They go into the CRM, they go into our origination system, and we have follow-up markers that we put on everybody's file. And my staff, every morning they come in, they have a task list. And hey, check in with Jeff today, check in with Eddie today, check in with Angelique today, because they're coming up as reminders. So that's what we do as far as that part goes. And we try to tailor the stuff that they get through the drip campaigns from the CRM specific to what they need. If they need tips on savings, they're on the saving campaign. If they need credit work, they're on the credit campaign, right? And if it's just reassurance that it is time to buy, then there's a motivational campaign out there that just touches them from time to time and say, hey, what's up? You still ready to buy? We still here. Um, so it's just like I think Lorraine was the one that said it, where you meet them where they are, whether they're baby boomers, 55 and olders, TikTokers, you got to meet them in their space, get on their level, understand what makes them tick, and then you can then have that strong relationship and help push them in the right direction.
Beautiful. So one of the things that we've heard so far, ladies and gentlemen, is that we've heard that we got to have our partners. So one of the partners is that credit repair specialist, another partner is a powerful lender. So if you don't have one of those people or a few of those people in your arsenals right now, you may want to work and start interviewing who are the credit people that I can now send the buyers to ensure that they can be ready 3 months, 6 months down the road. Eddie, after they've seen these beautiful homes that you guys are posting all over social media, and they're like, I would love that house. I got the down payment, but I don't want the mortgage. What are you now doing to like visualize them or give them the opportunity to understand that they can start here and end up there?
That's a great question. So, kind of piggyback off what you're saying, right? One of the things that we have an in-house credit repair specialist, Tony Ballinger. So once they come in and they see the house they like, but their credit is not there, obviously we put them on a drip campaign to connect them with our credit repair specialist. So that way, during the process, we are planting the seeds to help them be ready for when the time, the credit is right. And then Tony let us know, hey, the credit is right, it's time to go, check in, connect with the lender, and then from there, we're able to get the process going to get them into that house.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, with the credit specialist, do you see that it's typically a long process or it's a short process?
Usually it's anywhere between 30 to 60 days, but I'm seeing the majority of buyers is their main pain point is the credit. And once we're able to fulfill that need, we're able to get them over the hump. So from my experience, they mostly have three of the requirements. It's just the credit that kind of be the Achilles heel that we got to push them to get over to get that pre-approval.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Back to our lenders. And you guys kind of touched up on this already, but let's add a little bit more to it. The buyers that just aren't finding themselves ready right now, or they're kind of needing a little bit more assistance to get to the finish line. Do you guys have any rent to own programs, down payment assistance programs, or any kind of other stuff that you guys are now able to provide to them?
I mean, this is so great. I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. It's just a very open discussion, and I'm very excited about it. But yes, what we tend to do is we definitely don't shun anybody away. And I think Aaron alluded to that very clearly. You want to put them on, some sort of path, some sort of plan, some sort of action, right? So yeah, we look into is either they need a credit repair, we're looking at down payment assistance options for them. We are, in some cases, they may need to rent in order to just save up some funds in order so they can be ready to do that big purchase when they're needing to do it. So we cover every basis for them. We look at their budget, right? One of the main things I find with buyers is they don't understand budget. I think Lorraine said it, but they don't understand the importance of making sure they understand their numbers, their monthly comfort level, right? They don't understand that the mortgage payment they're making includes taxes, it includes insurance, it includes HOA. They just think, okay, I have to pay this mortgage, right? Because of what they're seeing on social media, what they're hearing from their family members, right? We know that that's how they think. So we like to let them have the realistic view of things. If they're not ready, let's find out where your budget is, where you need to be. But the main thing for us is we need to educate the public. That's the best way I can say. We need to educate them so they understand what is out there, what it is that they should be looking towards, understanding that yes, you get a paycheck, right? But that paycheck that you get, we have to make sure that your net income that you receive is what's going to be paying your bills, right? You're going to be paying that, not just the mortgage. And we like to say, we don't like to make our buyer's house poor, all right? You're not just buying this house to pay this mortgage. At the end of it, you still have to live. So yes, we do make sure that there's other options for them if they can't get ready right now, but we cover every basis, the down payment assistance, renting the home, looking at their budget, looking at their lifestyle, educating them, making sure they're understanding their pre-approval and what that means. And what is it that the funds that they have saved up in order to get them into the home, but not only just saving the money, but also how are you going to live after you've actually owned the home.
Beautiful. Excited that you spoke about that question. So probably in the room today, we have tons of realtors and real estate brokers. Are these like sets of questions that they can be asking the client to see if they're ready to now buy, or should they be sending them to you guys?
No, absolutely. And what we've done is we've done trainings with a couple of our agents, and what we've provided them is a buyer's worksheet, right? We gave them a form to say, this is some of the questions you need to be asking your buyers when you're meeting with them. Okay. And the same with some of the questions that you as realtors will ask, okay, where are you financially? What is your credit score? What is your monthly payment that you are looking for? What is the price point that you think you're going to be qualified for? Where do you want to live? Because some of these questions are going to determine, and we can gauge at that point most of the time their monthly payments, right? So we ask these questions and we give it as a tool to the agents. This is a form, use this form, ask the questions to your buyers so you yourselves are prepared so you know what you're walking into. You definitely don't want to just be out there thinking every buyer's qualified. Know your buyers. The best thing you can do for yourself as agents is to know your buyers. Understand what they want and understand their needs.
Beautiful, beautiful. $1 million question goes to Lorraine, and I think everyone's probably dealing with this. You get a buyer, they get pre-approved, they can afford the home, the DTI is there, and then they see two, three properties, and then the hesitation starts. Lorraine, what are you doing to ensure that you get them over the hump and reassure them that they can truly do this?
Thank you for that question. For that part of this market that we're in, I feel like the part of Lorraine, which is the ministerial part, that's where I come in and am really able to support them in that fear and just remind them of their why. So being able to step out of our realtor hats and come into the humanistic side of who we are and really walking them through that. There's a scripture in the Bible that says faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. But the same way, fear comes by hearing. And so you just have to remind them of who they are. You have to remind them of their why. You have to remind them the incentive of what they're about to walk into. Because that is not just for the buyers. We have 39 of us that are on the line. We too are buyers. And how many of us aren't shooting our shot because we're afraid of what they are saying? They being the economists, the news, and all of the things. So it's really having these candid conversations with your clients, being able to empower them and being able to really push them. Because the minute you allow a buyer to just, oh, I'm going to take a break, that's when they have conversations with the family members who are not yet homeowners, and it just goes downhill from hill from there. So I would encourage us all to have a day. Monday is my day. Have a day on your calendar where it is your follow-up day and you are plugging in and you are reminding them of what they said they were going to do. So I'm sending them the message, hey, future homeowner, this is your week. I'm ready to get out when you're ready to get out. I saw this property that I know is for sure yours. Even if I know it's out of scope or even out of budget, it just opens that up and they'll look at it like, oh no, that's too high for my budget. Oops, wrong person. Let's come back. Let's go back to your budget, but it opens up the conversation and it reminds them of their why. And so we just have to keep having these conversations until they get up and go out and let's see some properties.
Beautiful. I love that. Understanding their why, giving them the motivation, that admin day. So her Mondays are her admin days. So truly having that day where you're looking down your list and you're looking to see who needs to be touched upon, who needs to submit their documents. Lorraine, are you doing this Monday follow-ups? Are you doing this with the lender, with the credit repair specialist, or are you just doing this on your own?
So for me, I'm doing it on my own, but after I've had the buyer's consultation, if they've not yet been pre-approved, and then I'm connecting them to the lender, I then have my follow-up with the lender sidebar conversation just to ensure like, hey, did such and such submit her documents? And if the lender tells me, then I'm coming right back to Fran and I'm like, come on, friend, I see you moving. The lender told me that you submitted your documents. We're one step closer. So really being that cheerleader, really being the advocate. If they crying, I'm crying. Like that's just who I am. And if they are celebrating, I'm celebrating. If they need a break, because they need to just talk about some things, we're talking about it. So really, it's just going to be always coming back. Meet them where they are. But remember, as the licensed professionals, we are the driver. We're driving them to that destination that they need to get to. They just don't know it yet. And then reminding them, like, you just spent how much on your rent? Now I have their profile, so I know. You just gave your landlord $2,800 more dollars and made them rich in their equity. And where is yours? You know, sometimes you can be like that depending on the buyer. You just remind them that they made somebody else rich over them and they'll get up. I'm working with a couple, and that's how we're moving the husband. Lord, that's how we're moving him forward, right? It's the beginning of the month. I had to drop it in our group chat. Child, y'all done gave them another $3,400. How your pocket feeling? And so he was like, Lorraine, get out of here. And I was like, I'm ready whenever you are. So those type of kind of, relationships, being funny, but also like, I'm serious. Let's go. So that's what I've been doing.
Being down to earth, people love to work with people that they like, so that's pretty cool. Back to our lenders, and you may have touched up on this, but what are some buyers consistently misunderstanding about the market, about mortgages, and how are you guys correcting this misconception that's out there?
I think the biggest misconception, I think it may have been Lorraine or Eddie that said it, is just how far their money can go right now. Um, we live in the Magic City, y'all, and there's a lot of things that's happening in and around Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Palm Beach, that has just resulted in the home prices being what they are, right? And $2,500 mortgage, several years ago was a decent single family home. In reality right now that is probably a townhouse. So that's the biggest
That's why I'm
thing
just saying
that
the
I
Christian
see.
coming right back. I'm not going on.
That's the biggest disconnect that I see with a lot of buyers right now in understanding how far the budget that they may be thinking, or the money that they want to spend, not what they can spend, what they want to spend, what that translates into in the market. And it just comes back to education, man. A lot of times we have these buyers consultations, they're pre-approved and they say, hey, Aaron, I don't want to go over $3,000. But every single property they send me is 500 or 550 or 600,000, right? And once they start seeing that, okay, this is the taxes on these homes, this is what the principal and interest is breaking down. Hell, the insurance, this is what the insurance is looking like on this price point now. Now they start to get the blurry eyes starts to leave, and they start to see the clear picture. So it's really just the education, man. It's just teaching them and showing them. Eddie mentioned having them send you about 3 or 4 properties from Zillow. Okay. Before you get out there and look, before Eddie gets in the car and go show you these properties, let's look at these numbers, right? So you see where your taste buds is, what your taste buds is going to cost you. It's going to be a little bit more than a Chick-fil-A soda. Um, so that's it, man. It's the education. It's just giving them the cold hard facts and then talking them through it, because they're gonna get on the edge of that cliff. They're gonna be ready to jump. They're gonna be ready to pull out, and you gotta be like, okay, hold on, come back here. Let's sit down, and let's talk about this, because this is the reality of the situation. And that's one of the things that we're big on, is just that full transparency. We don't like to hold anything back. We're gonna punch you in the mouth right up front, and then rub that jaw and give you some ice, and then we move forward, right? So yeah, I mean, Tanya, you had anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is just the interest rates. I mean, everybody always focuses on the interest rates. And, what I do, and I think what relates to people a lot, is you have to tell them your personal story. And I always have to share my personal stories. I didn't own one property, I didn't own two, I owned several properties, right? But I didn't do that because I was fearful of the rate. I always say, marry the house and date the rate. That is the best concept that people tend to miss, is don't get so hung up on the interest rates. And I think, Aaron, you mentioned it earlier, if you're looking at where the interest rates were a few years back and where they are now, we're actually in line with where the rates are. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions I find that people have, is the interest rates and where they are or what they're doing. I can't afford a house. But yet still, when you say to them, okay, this is your monthly payment, I never lead with the interest rates. Where are you comfortable in your payment? Okay, $33,000. Okay. you're good. Then I tell you the rate. Because if you start with the rate, it freaks everybody out. But what is that monthly payment you're comfortable with? If you tell me $3,000 and that includes everything and your taxes, your insurance, and everything that we need to get you there, that's it. Why are you hung up on the rate? The rates are the rate. The rate is the rate. All right. But let's get you into the home because you're focused on the rate while you could be building equity. That equity you're going to take out to go buy another property. And that's how you start leveraging when you hear them, everybody say they want to build generational wealth. You can't build generational wealth by focusing on the interest rate. So
Beautiful.
that's the reality for me, and that's usually how I break that barrier when I'm talking to my buyers. It's, you got to just hit them sometimes with the cold hard facts. You just got to hit it to them and they get it. You'd be surprised. They get it. But yes, the rates are the rates. They are what they are. House prices are going to go up. I say, look, if house prices are low, interest rates are high. If interest rates are high, house prices are low. So pick your poison.
There you
Okay.
go.
You got to pick your poison.
Okay.
And I'll add to that if y'all don't mind. One of my go-to lines that I like to let the buyers know, like, hey, listen, it's gonna be a roller coaster ride. We gonna experience every emotion. We gonna be mad, we gonna be sad, we gonna want to cuss people out. But the end result is gonna be a celebration. And that's why we pop champagne at the closing table and they always go for it. So just kind of setting at them in at the beginning, setting them know what they expect. So when they call you like, what the hell are these numbers to? I calm down, relax, breathe. We still on a roller coaster. We get into our destination.
Exactly. That's it. We're gonna get there. Just trust the process, right? Trust the process. You trust the process.
I love how we talked about the rate, and a lot of times we freak out about the rate when it comes to like mortgages, but when it goes to financing TVs and financing furnitures and financing a car, we never think about the rate because we just truly want it. So excited about that. I want to go ahead and I want to pass it right back to our lenders here to talk about what's happening in the mortgage industry as this is a buyer panel that we're hosting right now. And y'all can talk about your hometown heroes if y'all like.
No, 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 no. We're not going to touch that topic. We're not going to touch that topic. But one thing I will say is, and just to comment on something you said in the intro, Jeff, is yes, the seller market is great, but who are you selling those properties to? Got to sell them to those buyers, right? So as much as there's a lot of activity on the seller side, those properties don't move without qualified buyers. And
It actually isn't though, not to cut you off, but it was a week, I think about 3 weeks ago, and I took like maybe 4 or 5 listings that same day or that same week, and I'm like, I'm not even excited because we're having those conversations that Lorraine spoke about earlier, and that we're getting these listings and they're not moving. So
Mhm.
we need the buyers. We need each and every single buyer right about now. I got an offer on one of my listings just yesterday, and the lady's like, decline. I'm like, what do you mean decline? We need to counter this. This is like all we have. Like, so I'm like, no, we're not declining this. Like, get out of here. So definitely we need the buyers right now.
Exactly, exactly. So, the buyers they need a little bit more love. Everybody who have kids, not you can have 5 kids and not all it's going to be 5 different personalities, right? So that's the problem. That's the situation with buyers is you're gonna have to meet them where they are. You're gonna have to become that psychologist, roll out the couch, and let them tell the story. And we all hope for that Oprah aha moment. Okay, now we see the light. Now we can build from there, right? Um, but just pounding them buy, that's not gonna work. If they're anything like me, the harder you push me, the harder you pound me, the more I'm gonna dig my heels in and fight back. So finding out what makes them tick, what motivates them. I think it was one of the earlier questions Jeff posed is, understanding, Lorraine said it, let them tell their story. Let them tell you about the kids, let them tell you about the grandmother that they're taking care of in the nursing home. Let them tell you about the motivation, the things that are motivating them and making them who they are. And from there, you can pick your poison and pick which buttons to push to help move them forward. Yeah, man, it's an interesting market right now. For those of you that are working with buyers, I can't tell you the last time I saw a contract that didn't have some sort of seller credit right off the bat. I can't tell you the last time I didn't see a contract that after inspections, there wasn't some sort of renegotiation for seller credits, right? So those things we are able to, when those seller credits come in right off the bat, we're having a conversation with the buyers. Do you want to use this money to buy that interest rate from 6.5 to 5.875 or 5.5? Or do you want to just keep more of your money in your pocket to make renovations to the home or do different things, right? So with that shift in the market, I mean, most of our clients right now, they're going the buy down route. 5.5, 5.75 is the interest rates that they're getting out the door, and these are fixed rates on 30-year mortgages. So there's things, man. There's things to help them move along.
I mean, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Hometown heroes. I'll say it. Um,
It wasn't me,
most,
Jeff. It wasn't
most,
me.
most people who know me know I do not like down payment assistance. So I can put that out there. They're not my favorite options, but they're there. They serve their purpose, right? At the end of the day, they serve a purpose. But I like to use it in a different way. When you're in a buyer's market, right? And if your buyer can get down payment assistance, let them get it, right? And on top of that, when you're in a buyer's market, get the seller's credit as well. Because then that benefits your buyer. They come out of pocket, great. They refer you three other people because they're going to tell them I came to closing with $500. That is three other referrals that you're going to get. So use it as a tool to get more buyers. Don't just think of it as, it's down payment. I'm there. I'm with you all. I understand it, right? The frustration, and everybody feels that down payment assistance is free money. I don't have to come to closing with nothing. It's an assistance, and that's how you have to explain it. It's assistance. This is not money that you just get and you don't have to do anything. Not my favorite, but we use it. We get the buyers and we show them the light because you can use that down payment in other ways, right? Buy down that rate, using the seller credit. There's so many ways to use it, not just thinking down payment and that's it. Like, it's just a horrible thing. Use it. Hometown is out. It is what it is. Now they've limited it to just certain occupations. But again, who can use it? Use it, but I don't discourage it. Not my favorite favorites out there, but they're there. In this industry, we got to deal with what we have.
Hey, I'm definitely a fan for free money. I'm getting 6%. I'm getting
Exactly.
6%
Qualify
seller
for it, take it.
contribution. So definitely a fan for free money. But it's just our ongoing joke, Aaron and I,
I
about
know.
just being in the buyer space. So excited about that. Before we open up for Q&A, as we have about 3 minutes left, I want to go ahead and give you guys the opportunity to tell the people, where can they find you? What social media sites are you on? What organizations do you manage? Do you run? Or maybe you're in the space like Eddie and you have a brokerage that you're looking for new agents.
Well, Erin and I have been in this, well, I've, in this industry for almost over 20 years. I've been an underwriter. I'm an underwriter still to this day. I like to brag and boast and say, once the files are coming in, they're going out with the approval of the underwriting stamp on there. So that makes that great. And we're on all social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, Century Point Lending Solutions. That's where we are. We do a Q, what we call it, or what is it, Aaron?
Playbook?
Our
Yeah.
playbooks. We do our playbooks, and what we do is a lot of what we talk about on our playbooks are situations that happen on files, literally, guys. So whatever we come across, we talk about it, and we make it an interesting topic, but we also share how we solved it. So our playbooks are very open. We love them. People tend to go back to them to find answers or get questions on things that they may have. And we love what we do. We're the owners of the company. We're licensed in Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And we're looking for North Carolina next to go into. And we didn't just build a baby. We're building a legacy, a foundation. That's something that is truly our own, but something that we can definitely make available to you guys as agents, but also our buyers. So that's just who I would say who we are and where you can find us.
I love it. Eddie or Lorraine?
Well, let me jump in there before the big
Go ahead,
iconic
Lorraine.
jump in
Go
there
ahead,
because
Lorraine. Go ahead. I'm gonna end it
I'm a
off.
solo agent on my little island. But I can be found on Instagram and Facebook as Lorraine Simon. I'm not like the iconic extraordinaires with their social media, but my presence pops in every now and then. I also wanted to encourage on the local market with where the market is, be open to expanding into other markets. I'm also licensed in Alabama and just closed on one of my distressed deals. Again, we can't be scared to pull the trigger. I saw something on their MLS and offered to buy it for 90,000 and I got a yes and resold it for 220. And it only was on the market for 8 days in a market where they were seeing 40 days on the market. So I say that to say, don't be afraid for you to open up doors. We open a lot of doors for our clients. We hustling and bustling. As I said, 11 showings in one day. When I tell y'all I got home and this wig came all the way off because I was tired, listen. So if I can do it for someone else, surely I can do it for myself. So be open to expanding into other markets that may have some returns for you as an investor on the real estate side. And so I can be found on Instagram if anybody's interested in the Birmingham market and on Facebook as well. You can inbox me and we can connect. I can maybe set up a Zoom so you guys can meet with my trusted real NARAB realtist that are able to connect us to their concierge. I also, guys, ordained and I do weddings. I love weddings. So I officiate weddings. So if anybody's getting married and you need a spirit-led officiant, I'm your girl to do it. And so I also serve on the foundation board for NARAB. We would love for you guys to come and join us. Carlos is getting ready to be installed and he's on the call. We see you, Carlos Brown. He is president-elect. He's coming, and I know he has some great jewels, insight programs that he's going to be rolling out. So I know Carlos is going to need all of our support in the incoming year. I absolutely love NARAB. And so those are just a few things that I'm doing, and I'm gearing up for my foster girls who I absolutely love. And our program is called Letters to Young Girls. And so if I can, Jeff, once I have all that together, share with your community if anyone would like to donate and or participate with that particular genre of children, I would absolutely love it. Thank you for having me on today. And I am looking forward to connecting with Tanya and Aaron on future transactions with our buyers. I like the sound. I like the alignment of what I'm hearing and the melanated skin.
Come
Yes,
on
thank
now.
you.
Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
I love it. So everybody, I can be found on all social media platforms, Eddie Brown the Broker, Iconic Realty and Associates. We the icons of the city. Just to let you guys know, we don't just focus on traditional buyers and sellers. We also teaching our agents how to invest, how to do fix and flip, how to do tax deeds. So we're basically your one-stop shop brokerage. So look us up. Also, Carlos, you know you got my support. Another Brown brother in the building. Congratulations while we're here. I'm part of Nate Rabb as well. Just want to shout that out. And I just want to add to everybody, just let y'all know, like in this industry, partnerships are the new currency, relationships are the new currency. So understanding how you can leverage relationships and partnerships to get the overall goal, rather that's closing deals, building, and many of us have different um, things that we master as well outside of real estate. So just be mindful that, you know, you can bring everything to the fold and we can collaborate together and build together. And I'm gonna turn it back over to Jeff.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. So want to go ahead and do a quick Q&A. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. I saw a question earlier and it came from Miss Angelique. It says, and I think this was to Aaron when he was speaking earlier. Would you say, Aaron, that we're in a buyer's market?
Oh, for me, it's always a buyer's market. Being a lender, if it's not a buyer's market, then we're at home figuring out how to do something else. But I think right now, I don't know if it's 100% a balance, a buyer's market. I think it's more of a balanced market. I think sellers still are poised to ask for top dollar for their properties, but with a little bit of give, they'll be able to secure that sale at the top dollar. And with that, the buyers are winning because they're getting a few dollars to help them get over that hump, whether it's to buy down rates or help them with their closing costs. So I feel like we're kind of like in the middle with maybe a 1 or 2% shifting more towards the buyer side, but I think we're kind of in a balanced market right now. I wouldn't say it's a full buyer's market.
I agree. And if I could jump in on that, what I'm also noticing is when we're going out with these buyers, which is a very interesting market, they are literally looking for turnkey ready properties. And so on the buyer side, because they're looking for that, on the list, it helps on the listing appointment when we are previewing the properties, just setting the seller up that your property probably is going to come in with some concessions being asked. I had an appointment yesterday and I had to tell them they love their house. It's in Fort Lauderdale. So if anybody's going to be working with a client in the Fort Lauderdale Melrose area, there's a listing coming. I'm trying to get them right at 390, even though the husband wants 465. You too high, sir. This kitchen is not upgraded. Your bathrooms are old. The grounds are not upgraded. The roof only got 5 years. And so having those direct conversations with them, because when we're out on the buyer agent side, we see that they don't want to do the renovations. And if the property needs it, they're coming out of the gate asking for that concession. And like Jeff, client said, decline. Wait, let's have a conversation. So it's helping on the listing appointment to have more direct, stern conversations in regards to you're not turnkey. So we're going to prepare for concessions.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So another question, I think this goes to the agents that are out there about the buyer's agreements. How are you guys introducing this? How are you guys getting those executed? And also include in there, how are you guys handling the one-time showings? I don't want to sign a buyer's agreement, but I want to see your listing or I want to see this house. If you guys could just take that question on.
So I would say when it comes to the BBAs, if they don't want to sign a buyer broker agreement and it's a one-time showing of the property, we definitely enforce the showing agreement. And we don't get much pushback on the showing agreements. But when it comes to the buyer broker agreement, this is introduced during the consultation, letting them know, hey, it's a buyer broker agreement that connects us together as your preferred realtor, your preferred representation that's going to negotiate on your behalf. In order for us to move forward and looking at properties, we need this commitment from you, and then we could go look at properties as early as tomorrow. And we don't get much pushback on that.
Anyone else want to add to that?
I just had someone call me randomly to see a listing of mine, and I sent him over the document to sign, and he absolutely refused to sign it. I asked him if we could get on the call so I could further explain the necessity for it because he wasn't working with the realtor. And he got on the call. I explained it to him, but he still said he felt like the form was marrying him to the property and to me. And I said, well, if you want to be, out dating, it's fine, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to allow you to gain access to that property. And that's a protection measure for self. I'm a female. It's a Sunday. I don't work on Sundays. I know my client is ready for an offer, but if you, sir, buyer, aren't even willing to commit to that, then I don't even know if you're going to be committed to the contract. And so we had a really good conversation. And then he circled back the next day. I'm still thinking about the form. Whenever you're ready, sir, I'm ready, right? But there was a clear conversation, and you have to hold your ground and be able to protect yourself. Use forewarn for those that you are unaware of, so you know exactly who you're meeting with. Get the documentation. I need to see you on camera because he said, you're asking a lot of me. Don't know you, Zillow caller, so if you don't want to sign, I'm not a thirsty realtor that's just going to run to a property and potentially put myself in harm's way. And so he didn't sign it. I went about my business for that Sunday and had a great day. And the listing is still available, 151 in Pompano Beach, a beautiful townhome. We just dropped the price to 405. Let's work a deal, guys.
Drop the address in the chat,
I love
please.
those
Right
plugins.
now.
I love those
Right
plugins.
now.
So one of the great things that you can probably implement into the one-time showing agreement is just listing the address. Maybe that can help you guys navigate that process of them not feeling married to you. It's just say, hey, I'm only listing the address in this particular county. So like that, it protects you from only seeing this one home. And also make it 24 hours. It's one of the things that we do when it comes to our listings is making it a 24-hour agreement where they're not buying it to us come the next day. Final
I like that.
question. Final question. How are you guys, and it's probably going to our lenders, how do you guys get your buyers into cash only condominiums if that opportunity is available?
All right, so everybody knows the fun we're having with the condo market right now. And it really comes down to what is the situation with the condo, right? If it's a structural issue, well, let me back up. What is the reason why the listing agent is saying cash only? We got to first answer that question, right? A lot of times I'll liken it to, we'll see a lot of listing agents put properties up that say cash or conventional only, no FHA, but the property is perfectly fine for FHA, right? So let's find out why they're saying cash only. If it's something major, guys, where it's like structural or safety issues, life safety issues, then yeah, that property is gonna have to go down the path of either cash or either find some other creative financing, like maybe seller financing, or in some cases, some hard money lenders will take those on. Your non-QM loans, which are your non-Fannie and Freddie back loans, they're kind of stepping away from taking on those properties as well too, because they just have so many of them on their books. And if they end up being in issues, then they're at fault or at risk for losing a bunch of money, and nobody wants that. So if they're truly only cash, it's going to end up being a situation where it's truly cash or creative financing. And it comes back to, why is it only a cash scenario? So a lot of ifs. We just have to find out what the reasons are behind it.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. So just engaging the chat so much, I'd probably hate myself if I didn't give the platform to say one or two things. Miss Angelique Hibbert herself, who comes from Miami Association of Realtors, that just lit up the
Yes.
room. Do you have any information from us from the national board?
I have to tell you, I just chimed in. I love the fact that I saw who was speaking. So I'll just say something really quick. If you don't mind, Lorraine, I love the organic marketing. I have used that for the last 20 something years. I think it's absolutely incredible. Aaron, I did want to say the reality on the interest rate and knowing the history of it is so important. I study it from the 1940s to now because there is a there's a story that repeats itself. So I think that's awesome. Eddie, your follow-up, you've mentioned that several times. I thought that was grand. Tanya, education is key. So I just wanted to thank all of the speakers. As far as on behalf of the Miami Association of Realtors, condo reform is huge. I am a part of the condo reform. I would definitely love to see more people that look like us in that forum. I must say that I cannot tell you. I've had people ask me why. The reason why is because we get to make the change. Everything you've talked about today, down to the hometown heroes, we're a part of making that change. We actually get to make that change. I knew it was coming off the table. I knew it was going back. I knew that it wasn't going to be for everyone in Florida, and I knew that it was going to be $50 million less. So just having the information, especially the condo reform, being in touch with legal. I don't know if you guys know or not, I'm also too Florida Realtor State Director. And Juanita, oh my God, not Juanita. Um, what's her name, Jeff? Our attorney. She's Black. Joanna Watkins, Black attorney of Florida, of the state of Florida for real estate. It's important to know who she is. The information that we're getting and the changes are making happen is happening way before we get the information. What I find about our Black African American community of realtors is that we're always the last people to get the information. And I just really, really want to emphasize the importance of sitting at the table, getting the information or being a part. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, it's the association. Well, it is the number one association in the country. And I want to tell you, it moves and shakes NAR. It moves and shakes Florida Realtors, because it's just that big. And it really, really gives us the opportunity to make change. One of the biggest things I've seen is that our, if you looked at it, we have 1.6 million realtors in the country, 1.6. I think that we're down to 1.5 now due to all the changes since August 17th last year. Guys, we're less than 100,000 realtors in the United States of America. We are making the least amount of money. The average is $40,000 a year for us.
Wow.
Us that are on here, of course, who are getting the information, we're maybe in a different league. But these are the statistics and the issues that we are seeing, and I'm watching the concern. I don't sit at the table because I just want to say, oh, I'm a governor or I'm a corporate director. No, I want to make the change and I want to see more color. That's why I sit there, to be totally honest with you. And getting the information hands-on is so good for my customers. It's incredible. And the people I'm around. which is really important. I swear, I really think I'm the real estate hotline. This week alone, I've gotten 15 calls from realtors. I'll tell you what, I guarantee you, can somebody answer this one question and I'm done? How many articles are there for the National Association of Realtors?
Come on and bless us.
Anybody, somebody, give me a number. How many articles? There are 17 articles. I read 30 cases a month. You know what makes me good in what I do? Because I see all the mistakes everybody makes. I get to
Mm.
sit there and watch all of the errors that our people make. And I read all these cases every single month. I got 30 cases to read on Thursday. So the involvement is what we need. Like there's so many people out that say, oh, well, you know, I got a contract and the realtor is not responding, the listing realtor. So I'm gonna go speak to I'm gonna go talk to the seller myself. Well, you did a good thing, but you did a wrong thing. You just broke Article 16. That's not a good thing. So it's just really having the information we need to grow our community as African Americans. Thank you so much, and I did not plan to speak, but thank you, Jeff. This was an awesome forum to have these many people at this hour in the middle of the day.
Amazing, amazing. Which leads us into our closing. So this is what we do here at the Real Estate Method. Dr. Karen and I really focus on how to get you to the next levels by having conversations like this. Aaron and Tanya have become great partners of us, where we see ourselves doing more and more activities each and every single month. We're planning a condom conversation that we're going to be having with you guys, because I truly believe everyone can dominate in the space of luxury. I truly believe everyone can dominate in the space of luxury, but what happens is we're not familiar with it. So what happens is we stick to what we know, we stick to the norm. So we're excited to be presenting that to you guys in September. Once again, if you're looking to grow your listings, we have people that's in our program that are taking listings and they're building a team right now. We have people in our program that are just heavy listings agents hosting 9-10 listings, which happen to be here right now looking at me in my face. And I had no idea this young lady had a full-time job. And we have people that are really growing their mindsets, and they're growing their courage, and we're hearing them say, man, I couldn't do this just 30 days ago. So if you're interested in learning more about it, our program is actually broken up into 2 departments. You get myself if you're a top producing agent that has done $2 million of production or more. If you get Dr. Karen, if you're just a licensee and you just got your license and you're figuring out, man, how do I put this contract together? How do I speak to my first seller or my first buyer? Or how do I get the EBBA signed? We have our rising star. So therealestatemethod.com is the link that I dropped in there. You know where to find us if you need anything from us. Once again, thank you so much, Tanya, Eddie Brown, Aaron, and Lorraine, for your time. Guys, you know where to find them. If you haven't followed them just yet, go ahead and follow them on all social media platforms. We'll catch you guys back next month. Take care.
Thank you for
Hold
having
on,
us.
Jeff.
Thank you, Dr.
Question.
Karen.
Is this a forum that you and Dr. Karen can, leverage more people so we can see more of our people doing well? I think that, I know I'm putting you out there, but, and
It's
look, I don't
funny
want to
you
go.
say that.
But
I dropped a
I would like
flyer.
to see that and just so we can have a place to go, because this was great, open forum, you get to listen. I don't know who Aaron and Tanya are, but now I know who they are. I don't honestly, I will close 30 or 40 buyers and we only show less than 4 properties. I don't even work with anybody that looks like you. And I'm being honest. So this was very open for us
And
to
that has to
today.
change.
Well, that's the whole problem. It's the connection and the participation. I mean, I've got 6 buyers now and I don't work with them, but we know where to direct them.